Hey everyone, welcome to our Sunday predictions and best bets video. So we're going to be looking at our two Sunday playoff games that we have on January 21st, 2024. We've already had two games on Saturday. We had the Baltimore Ravens beating the Texans 34-10. Basically, Lamar Jackson just ran down the Texans' throat. So props to the Ravens for getting through. They do have a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. So they're our number 1 seed, a really tough team to beat this year. And then the final game we had Saturday night, we had the San Francisco 49ers beat the Green Bay Packers 24-21. That was a crazy game because pretty much the Packers outplayed the 49ers the whole game. But at the very end, Jordan Love just got a little too sloppy and he threw that pick at the very end of the game. But props to the 49ers. The 49ers played horribly. Played bad on defense, played bad on offense. Brock Purdy looked like crap the whole game. He had 2 or 3 passes that should have been picks, but the Green Bay Packers secondary dropped them. But a win's a win. They are a number 1 seed, and they're moving on to the next round. And big props to the Packers. Packers came out of nowhere this season. Everyone had them winning 5 or 6 games. They actually made it to the playoffs. They made big steps under Jordan Love his first year as a starter. This is a really young team. They have a lot of promise going forward, but props to them big time. But the games that we're going to be looking at are the Sunday games. At 3 p.m. on NBC, we have the Bucs and the Lions, and at 6:30 we have the Chiefs and the Bills, our last 2 games. So 2 teams have the tickets booked to the next round of the playoffs, but we just have to see who's going to be playing on Sunday, who we think is going to win, lose, and what we predict those final scores will be. So hit that like button and subscribe. But let's just take a little look at these games. So the very first game we have, 3 p.m. NBC, we have the 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the 12-5 Detroit Lions. This is the NFC Divisional playoff round. This game is going to be in Detroit. Looking at these 2 teams here, obviously you have Tampa Bay, who just like the Packers, they came out of nowhere, had a really strong second half of the season, basically led by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's one of those guys, pretty much his whole career with the Browns, you had good Baker, bad Baker. He was good Baker his rookie season, and then after that was just really bad, completely fell off the rails. But he's had a resurgence with the Bucs. He had a really good season so far this year. He's probably the comeback player at this point of the season. Really strong season, threw the ball, ran the ball. Tampa Bay has a really good rush defense. It really came on second half of the season. So their goal here is going to be to shut down the Lions' run game and force Goff to have to beat them vertically through the air. Tampa Bay, like we said, really good D-line, and they have a lot of weapons. They have White, Evans, Godwin, so they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, they play good defense. For the Lions had a really strong first half of the season. They hit that halfway point, fell off second half, started having a lot of turnovers on offense. Defense started getting torched every single game, but they did get the ship right last 3 to 4 weeks of the regular season. They obviously carried that in the first round of the playoffs last weekend. Defense is still giving up a lot of points, but the offense cut down the turnovers. That's a big deal. This is one of the better rosters, though, in all of the NFL. They have the weapons on offense. They have Goff, they have Montgomery at running back, they have St. Brown at wide receiver. So this is one of the teams. They can't beat you on defense, but they can beat you multiple ways on offense. They can run it, and they can throw it. Looking at the team stats here, you have the Bucs coming in. They're averaging on offense 20.5 points per game. Detroit averages 27.1 points per game. So Detroit does have a top 8 offense. So they have a really good offense. And on defense, Tampa Bay has the edge on defense. They give up 19.1 points per game. Detroit gives up 23.2 points per game. They've actually brought that number down, but it's still pretty bad. So Lions are the underdogs on the defensive side of the ball. Looking at who Vegas has winning. So obviously the Lions come into this game. They're 6-point favorites, and the over-under is 49.5. So the spread's been moving up. The over-under's been going up on this game. This is 2 decent offenses, 2 pretty good quarterbacks. Goff is having a really strong season. I think it was 32 years that Detroit hadn't won a playoff game going up to last week. They got the win last week, and props to them. That's getting a big burden off of your back. They finally got over the hump. Plus, they got it versus Stafford. That has to be a pretty big deal for the Lions fans. And for Goff, he got the win versus the Rams, which was the team that dumped him. But this is going to be a really tough game here because Tampa Bay has the defense to keep the game close. They're going to try to shut down the running game, shut down Montgomery, and force Goff to have to beat you vertically. But he's shown this year, he had just under 4,600 passing yards, 30 touchdowns. He can definitely do that. I have the Lions getting the win here. I have them winning 28-21, just barely covering the spread. And I'm also still going with the under. I was originally going with the over, but the over-under did go up, so I'm going to be going with the under as of right now. But getting the win nonetheless, 28-21 and covering that spread, and moving on to the next round of the playoffs, which there's going to be some really good teams on that next round. And the next game we have at 6:30 p.m. on CBS, the game of the weekend, the game that everyone's been waiting for. We have the 11-6 Kansas City Chiefs versus the 11-6 Buffalo Bills. This is the AFC Divisional round. This game is going to be in New York. Buffalo, 30-point favorites here, so that just barely moved up, and the over-under is 45.5, which has pretty much just been staying where it's been the whole time. So, Kansas City, this is a really good game because this is a rivalry game. Kansas City Bills, they've been meeting a lot in the playoffs. Bills have never won a Super Bowl. They haven't gotten through Kansas City in the playoffs the last few years. Kansas City's basically been the roadblock, keeping the Bills from achieving the success that this team is really built for. This is a really good roster, but they haven't been able to get through the Chiefs in the playoffs. Last year's game was an awesome game, went down to the wire. Bills have shown that they can beat the Chiefs. They've beaten them in the regular season. It's just, can they get that to carry over into the playoffs here? If there was ever a time for the Bills to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, this is the year. Why do I say that? Because the Chiefs are down. This is not the Chiefs team of the last few years. This Chiefs team, their offense is not good. They do not have a good offense in any way whatsoever. Mahomes has had a lot of turnovers this year. It's not fully his fault. He's been playing a little sloppy, but still having a really good season. He's a great quarterback. Obviously, he's probably the best quarterback in all of pro football, but he doesn't have the weapons on offense. Too many guys dropping too many balls. You have Kelsey, Rice, they're obviously the best weapons, but even they're dropping balls. And outside of them, Tony, those guys can't catch at all. When you can't complete 5 to 10 yard passes, you're going to have a problem. Even with your run game, it's putting too much pressure on Mahomes to have to force the ball into tight coverage. And the Bills have a really good defense. So if you're dropping the balls versus the Bills, they're going to make you pay on it. There's going to be 3 and outs. But the saving grace for the Chiefs is they have a top 5 defense. They have a really good defense. They're going to be seeking to get turnovers from Josh Allen. And who better than Josh Allen to get turnovers on? He's a great quarterback, top 5, top 3 quarterback. But whenever he's off, he's really off. Sometimes he plays great, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and sometimes he just goes crazy and turns the ball over. 2 picks, 2 fumbles, he just does too much. Tries to get a little careless sometimes, and that punishes his team. He's playing a really good defense here. Chiefs get after the quarterback. They're going to be gunning for him. They're going to be hitting him. They're going to be trying to sack him. And Josh Allen does not know how to slide. He refuses to slide. He's always trying to bulldoze people over. That's all fine. But the Chiefs are fine because they want to get the licks in on you. So they're fine with you scrambling, and they're going to try to hit you fast. They're going to try to hit you often. But like you said, Chiefs don't have the good offense. The Bills have one of the best top-to-bottom rosters. They have a top 5 offense. They have a top 5 defense. Their biggest issue is they never play together on the same day. So when the offense plays good, the defense plays like crap. When the defense plays good, the offense plays like crap and has a bunch of turnovers. If they ever get everyone to show up on the same page the same day, this is obviously a Super Bowl caliber roster. Looking at the total team stats here, you have Kansas City. Like I said, their offense has taken a step back, and the offense is averaging this year 21.8 points per game. Buffalo has a top 5 offense averaging 26.5 points per game. And on defense, Kansas City, they have a really good defense. They have a top 5 defense. They give up 17.3 points per game. Buffalo's not too far behind. They give up 18.3 points per game. Buffalo has the edge statistically. The better offense, and their defense is just as good as the Chiefs. Chiefs have an elite defense, but the offense leaves some to be desired. Even with the issues on offense, do not underestimate the Chiefs. A lot of people are still picking the Chiefs this weekend because they have the experience. They have Andy Reid. They have Kelsey. They have Mahomes. They have a lot of veteran players. They're not scared of the Bills. They have nothing to prove versus the Bills. They've beaten the Bills every time they play them in the playoffs. The Bills are the ones who are afraid here because they haven't been able to get past the Chiefs. Chiefs don't have to show the Bills anything. Bills have to show the Chiefs and the country that they are that team, that they can actually beat the Chiefs. So the Bills have the pressure on them. Chiefs do not. But the Bills are the favorite here. Like we said, 3-point favorites, over under 45.5. I have the Bills getting the win here, 28-24. I have the Bills finally getting that hurdle off of their back, getting past the Chiefs. But I have this game being a close one, potentially going down to the very end, the very last possession. Maybe Kansas City miss a field goal at some point. But I have the Bills winning 28-24, covering the spread. I'm going with the over, and I have the Bills finally getting past the Chiefs and moving on to the next round. So obviously, as of what I have picked as of right now, we're going to have the Bills playing the Ravens, which would be an awesome game. And we're going to have the Lions playing the 49ers, which is an awesome game. No matter who wins, all of those teams have earned it. The only one who's actually recently won a Super Bowl, obviously, so far, is the Chiefs. And the Ravens have won, what, 2 the last 23 years? 49ers haven't won in forever. Lions, it's been an age. Buffalo, they've never won one. So hopefully some of these new teams get a ring, but that's what it's all about. Hit that like button and subscribe. That's our breakdown of these Sunday games. Drop a comment below, and I'll make sure to respond. Thanks.